Okay, good morning everyone. We are going to analyze the stock market charts, and in this video I'm going to go through really where I see the market heading in the near future. I also have a trade idea or a trade setup basically that looks really good. I took the trade this morning, so I'll point that out if anyone's interested, and then we'll wrap up. So leave me that thumbs up. I do appreciate that, and also check out my course in the product description below if you want to learn how to analyze charts and trade like this. All right, so into the charts, triple Qs. All right, so here's what I see. We're rallying. It's election day. Rally on election day, is not something that I would definitely take. I think that there's just too much indecision. I don't expect institutional money to be buying this rally, and we probably can confirm by the volume. Yeah, you see the volume here. The rally, so far relatively low volume, but obviously the day's early. The thing is, we're rallying right up into this downtrend line. This is the downtrend line that the Qs has been in. So watch for this to break. What I would think this is going to do is probably slightly break out and break higher and then fade or come back into the downtrend line. Now we do have a resistance line up here at 280.50 about. If this pops up into that 280.50 level, I'll probably look at taking a short up there. Now I know. Now I wouldn't necessarily do it the day, at the end of the day. But if we pop up here soon, that's a ways up there though. So I don't know if it's going to happen, to be honest. I mean, that's another 1.5%. But if it does, and the lines are moving on me as my scrolling. But if it does, that's an area where if it happens intraday, you could take a short and then look for it to fade back below this downtrend line. It's a high risk move. It's risky right now just because of all the volatility of the election. That anything that I do, especially on the indices, is going to be smaller volume, and that's I'm just adjusting for the risk that's elevated right now. And I don't want to take a huge position and then be caught off guard. So I'd rather take a smaller position and be wrong or right on smaller size. So that's how I'm playing it until we figure out the next direction. But we're still downtrending. So the trend is your friend until the end is what they say. Well, we're in a downtrend right now on this hourly chart. Looking at the daily here. Oh, and then going back to the hourly real quick. We did have bullish divergence on the hourly. Here it is. So it's playing out. It looks like it's playing out. And that's why I think maybe we could pop up to this 280. Just kind of that bullish divergence is potentially, playing out for a small rally. We could even have a rally for a few days, after the election. That's possible. The daily chart, I don't see anything that is, telling me that we're going too much higher. But again, we could pop up to 280 and then roll back down to 266 area. So that's kind of what I see. If there's a rally, I think it fizzles out around that 280.50, somewhere right around there, and then we roll back down to 266. That's my forecast on this one. SPY, same deal. Here's your daily chart. There's your downtrend line right there. I've got this trend line right up here, so we could possibly pop. I think that we'll stop around 342.72 if we do rally. That's where I'm looking for this rally to fizzle out, and then ultimately heading lower basically in the SPY. I think we're probably heading down to this 321 area, and we're gonna undercut it. The reason why I think that's possible or probable, I suppose, is again, think of this area as a big trading range right there. So the 342 is the top of the trading range. So we pop up, hit the top of the trading range, and then roll down. This was a false breakout right here on the daily chart. So because it was a false breakout out of this range, and we've headed all the way back down to the bottom of the range, I think we're going to break the bottom of the range. This is just a rally. Maybe we get up to the top of the range, then we head back down to the bottom of the range. That's what I'm looking for. And on the hourly of the SPY, you can see we had bullish divergence right there on your hourly. If I could mark it out, it's right there where prices were moving lower and the momentum's moving higher. And that's played out for a rally as of right now. So this rally could continue up a little bit more, another percent or so. I'm looking for it to fizzle out right around there. So I'm going to be watching that closely to see what happens. IWM trading right up to resistance, right there at 159.57. See how we flagged, or see this candle here, how we popped above it, but it faded back below. So this should hold as major resistance. I don't expect any kind of major breakout. They might pop it a little bit intra-hour, but I still think that ultimately this holds 159.60 as resistance. So that's an objective area to actually short. So that's something to watch for. Gold bullion rallying right up to resistance. This thing's just been, in a downtrend, and it just is running right back up to resistance today. Dollar selling off. That's primarily where the rally, I think, is coming from, is the fact that the dollar's selling off. I don't know what this means fundamentally. Maybe it means a bunch more stimulus. I don't know. But dollar selling off, and gold is rallying because of that. But gold is, still below resistance. The dollar is kind of in this big sideways range, kind of still above support right here at 92.70. So it's noise, basically. Financials, XLF. I mean, this has been just it's not, there's no trade here from my perspective on XLF. It's just this big sideways, zone that we've been in right there, where it's just been going, bouncing off the top and the bottom, basically, right about there, really since July. So for me, it's just kind of a no touch on the XLF, just sideways action. Apple kind of stuck right in the middle of its trading range right now. I think resistance is up here around 112.80, so we could run up and tag that. That should hold. Microsoft, it's above its nearest support right here at 205. So we'll have to watch to see where this wants to go. Top of the range right now is 215.51. But it's in the middle, so there's not really an objective trade there. Amazon basically getting rejected right at support so far. Resistance right there at 3,078. So I expect that holds. PayPal. All right, so this morning I covered this trade. I saw that it was gapping down about 6% or something like that, right to one of my support lines at 175.47. It opened, I believe, at 175. Yeah, about 175. So I covered it right there. I've now added it back. I've reshorted it right up in here. I was looking for it to get up to 190.05. We might fall short. So I took the short up here. So, was able to pull a 6% gain out of that. Now I'm looking for this to continue to roll over. PayPal, in my mind, tells me it's rolling down to fill this gap. Now, this gap is really well watched. So if we get near the gap, I don't know if we'll actually fill the gap. There's so many people that can see this gap. It's completely obvious. So watch for a reversal around the gap. It doesn't mean we have to fill the gap. We might head towards the gap and then they reverse it and run it up, and then it rolls down and fills the gap. I do think that as it approaches the gap, and I do think it will approach the gap, probably even this gap fill at 139.48, maybe undercut it slightly and then reverse. So I'm watching for that, but that's kind of where I think this thing's heading. So it's a potential trade as of right now of 25% gain or so. I like it. Still looks good. If you look at the daily here, still have this negative divergence intact. There's no bullish divergence or anything. So this tells me we're still heading lower. This was just a gap down and they run it up basically. But as you can see, we're probably still going to close the day, if I just mark this out, in a downtrend. It's a rough drawing, but you can see we're still moving down. So all we did is gap down, run up to the top of that downtrend line, and I think we roll over and fade, continuing the downtrend in PayPal. There's some real relative weakness that I'm seeing in some of these high-flying COVID stocks, such as Zoom, Peloton, all the stay-at-home stuff. There's some kind of relative weakness. So you'll see here, Zoom is pretty much flat. You've got Carvana's bouncing today, Etsy's bouncing, Peloton's negative, it's down. So there's some weakness there. Chewy's up, so I guess it's about 50-50. It's a little, not quite say that there's relative weakness, but some of these stocks are weak. Some are performing with the market. The Q's is up. The tech is up 2.3%. Zoom right here is basically flat. Now I'm not in this one right now currently. I do like it to head down to the bottom of the price channel. It started to it started to stop here yesterday and rally a little bit. So to me, it looks like it wants to run up and back test this trend line up around 484 or so. I'm looking for that. That'll be your next objective entry to re-short this thing for a trade down to the bottom of the trend line, probably around 400. Okay, so I put this out in a community post this morning. If you don't get those, hit the bell icon on my channel and you'll get those notifications when I do these community posts. But I basically put out screen capture. It's the fastest way I can get a trade idea in front of my audience. So I'll put out a screen capture saying, this looks like an objective area, and that's what I did. Basically, the screenshot said BBY, Best Buy, was trading right up into resistance. I think it gets rejected right up here. I took a short position right up here. I like it. And if you look at the daily, negative divergence right here, that's been intact. This was a divergent high. There's your trend line right there that we have on Best Buy. And we broke trend. Nice impulsive breakdown too. You can see just gapping down, impulsive sell signal. So that's a nice sell signal that you want to see. And we're coming in for a back test. So when we have back tests below trend line support, it is that's resistance, and that is objective areas to short this stock. So in my opinion, I like this one. I got short, looking for this to run down. Next support is going to be 104.38, I believe. So I think we head down that way, and that will be a profit of 11.8%. If we break that level, then we're going to head down towards this gap, this big gap right here down at 91. So risk reward, this is a really good trade because it's right there at resistance, and the final profit target is about a 22% gain. And I set my stop loss up around here at 119.09. If we continue to grind up here, well, I'm going to watch it. If it's below trend and it's grinding below trend, kind of just uptrending, but it's below this trend line right here, I might just hold on to it. But if it shoots up and over and regains this trend line, which would then become support, and then is able to close above this stop loss of 119.16, then I'll stop out. That's how I'm going to trade this one. And if you look at the hourly, there was just a slight bullish divergence here on the hourly, which forecast a small rally because it's only on the hourly chart, and we got that small rally right into resistance. So I was, I didn't have a position in this, but I was waiting for it to do that back test. It gave me that opportunity this morning, so there it is. Most likely won't be there too long, but nothing's going to guarantee that it works out. Again, this is just my opinion. Everything on here is, but I like it. I think it looks good. And I'm watching for run at RUN to do the same thing. I'm looking for it to come in and do a back test, 59.28 or something like that. We'll see if it can get up there today, and I'll probably take a short position on this one. This one looks good to the downside because big negative divergence right here. That's a really big negative divergence. You can see price just went to the moon, and it put in a negative divergence on that final move higher. And then here's your trend line, really coming off the March lows. There's your uptrend, and we broke trend. Not super impulsive, but you did have these 2 days here where it did confirm to the downside. So now we come in for a back test. Look for that to hold as resistance and then break down. First profit target 44.50, second profit target 36.64, and then a final profit target of about 23.57. So that is, if we get all the way down to the bottom, about a 60% drop. So I'm looking for that one. But again, need to find that objective entry, which would be on a back test of this trend line. And we'll wrap up with oil. I put out a video yesterday about oil stocks. They still look good. They're still constructive. We gapped up today. We're selling off a little bit after the gap open, but that gap up is further confirmation that there's some buyers there. So waiting for, right now it still hasn't quite taken off. We do need to see it get a little more impulsive, but still above this broken resistance, which is now support. So looking for higher prices there in XLE. XLE, I'm looking for it to run up to 34.27. XOM, you can see we moved above support here at 33.68, and we are just kind of coming back in for a test, and it looks like it's kind of flagging. So to me, this flag sets us up for a move, probably something like, up around this 36.40, I think, in XOM. And then CVX looks like it's flagging as well. And this flag is a much larger, no, this flag is really starting right about here. So that projects us maybe up to about, up to roughly 76 for the next level. So everything looks good on these. They have bullish divergence on the hourly. If you go to the daily, nice clean bullish divergence right there on CVX. On XOM, nice clean bullish divergence. See how price was moving lower and the momentum was moving higher? That's showing you that a trend reversal is likely, and then you wait for a break of resistance levels. Well, we've got the trend reversal and we have the break of the resistance levels. So these levels should now hold as support, and we should continue higher. That's all I got, guys. Again, thank you. And if you want to take my course to learn this stuff, I think there's some good value there. So anybody who's already taken it or is in the process of taking it, thank you. I do appreciate that. And I'm hoping that you're finding some value in those lessons that I'm giving that will really complement and supplement my daily videos and enable you to kind of find your own ideas, your own trade ideas. There's lots of ideas out there all the time. I only see just a small fragment of those ideas, and I put those out here on YouTube. So if you have the skills, you'll be able to find those ideas for yourself, take action, manage your risk, and in the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to become profitable or more profitable. And so that's what this training course that's what the goal of the training course is. So it is there for everyone in the description. Thanks. Catch you guys on the next one.